Says I'm live. You guys can hear me. Please let me know. We will get this started. Not too late today. Probably gonna have to get out of here by around 2:30, I believe, but we got plenty of time, an hour to break this all down. Should be a fun slate. Might be interesting. Hold on, I forgot a light to put on really quick. All right. There we go. That looks different. But anyway, this is a pretty tough slate today. I mean, I know the guys I want to pick for obviously Dominators. I think that's kind of obvious. But I think roster construction is pretty difficult today because we have Joey Logano starting in the very back, and he makes things pretty interesting. Do I want to get Joey in, or do I want to go for that potential third Dominator like a Chase Elliott or William Byron with my guys like Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin? So some very interesting builds, and with the potential tire wear disaster on hand, that makes things a little squirrely as well. Hopefully it goes better than last week. I think last week was probably DFS D-Day. I mean, there was, only a handful of guys that ended up not finishing the race or having issues, and they were pretty much all the cash locks. Alex Bowman dies. He was running in the top 10. Josh Berry dies. Brad Keselowski dies. And then Kyle Larson died right off the rip. We didn't even have a chance to see what he was going to be able to do. I mean, that was probably about as bad as it could have possibly went last week. Just a complete disaster. And then, to make things worse, I bet Ryan Blaney live at plus 1,000 because we saw the long run speed, and as soon as he makes the pass, well, what do you know? Kyle Larson, 160 laps down, ends up taking another spin because he parked it right in front of Bubba Wallace. So hopefully Larson can get back in our good graces today, but last week was not fun having a lot of Kyle Larson or just really in general. But yeah, let me get to the questions here. I did see a couple of donos. Hunter, I was not on Warzone. But we got to build quick after I get off the live because I have not yet built my lineup, because I feel like talking about it might make things a little bit easier to digest afterwards. But I got my donor from CGen, as always. I really do appreciate that. Says, do you think we can push to 3 DOMs, and who would be the best DOMs? Yeah, I think you can definitely push it to 3. But we have 500 laps on tap today. So, I mean, you cannot skip DOMs. Like, yes, there is a lot of good place differential. But for example, if Joey Logano finishes 15th today, is that fine? Yeah, so score around 50 fantasy points. But if Chase Elliott, if he ends up getting some Dominator points, some fast laps, finishing 3rd, I mean, that can definitely outscore a guy like Joey Logano. Obviously, doesn't have quite the floor. And then the best DOMs today, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, those are going to be the 1-2 for everybody. Larson opened up at 285. Looks like on DraftKings, I saw him at 250, I believe, on Caesars, which I think is an insane number for a race that might have some question marks. And then Denny Hamlin. I mean, those are the top 2 guys today for a reason. They're both great here at Bristol. They're both some of the best cars in their practice groups, which I'm not really sure how much I want to put into practice anyway. I didn't really weigh it too heavily when running sims, just because, I mean, some of the numbers I think are a little bit outlandish. But they definitely look great. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing if you were fast in practice, of course. And after that, I think everyone's pretty even. Christopher Bell and then Ryan Blaney are in that tier 2 for me. They won't be as owned, so those are the pivots off of the Larson and Hamlin chalk. But I do think it is pretty good chalk today. And other than that, I think, Alex Bowman, I guess, but he's not quite in that same price range. But I do like him at that price point. He is very cheap. So yeah, I think you can easily stretch it to 3 DOMs, especially if you include Alex Bowman, of course, on the pool. I mean, that makes things really easy. If you want to play Bowman, Larson, and Hamlin, of course, the floor in that lineup is not going to look that great, but there's a lot of ceiling in that. They could all combine for around 400 laps led, which I think is possible. Got a donor from Clint. Appreciate that. Says, hit the like button for the best NASCAR. Oh, appreciate that, Clint. Happy race day, y'all. Got to get back to the top of the mini max. Who do we like as far as tire wear? Thanks as always. Yeah, the tire wear king, I'm going to say, is Denny Hamlin. He showed that last year in the spring race, ended up winning, led a ton of laps. Very good at managing his equipment and his tires, and that's going to be very important today. I think Kyle Larson's also excellent at that. Usually very strong once we get late into runs. Now this year, so we're not using the same tires we have been. This is just the Bristol tire, but Ryan Blaney this season has been excellent at intermediates as far as being fast and long runs. I'm not sure if that's going to translate quite too much to Bristol, but he has looked good, at least at managing his tires this season, although it has not yet been at Bristol, so it's going to be a bit TBT. Last year in the spring race, Brad Keselowski was also really good at managing his tires. On FanDuel, that price is tough at nearly $11,000, but below $8K on DraftKings. I do think all the RFK cars do look pretty good in GPPs today. What's up, Dan? Appreciate the dono. Says your favorite pivots off the chalk on DraftKings. Yeah, I really like Chase Elliott today. He is super good here, and I always give a bit of a bump to the guys that have good track history here at Bristol because it's such a unique track. And starting in 20th, he's a nice pivot off of William Byron, who I believe will be higher owned than Chase Elliott, and I also believe Joey Logano will be higher owned than Chase Elliott. If that's going to be the case, I mean, he's got legit race winning upside. I would not be surprised to see Chase Elliott contend for a top 5 here today. If you're looking at some of his Bristol numbers, it's only a 4-race sample size in the next gen era, but they are very good. Average finish of 4.8, really good running position. He's been in the top 10 every single time, and half of those have been inside the top 5. So I think Chase Elliott makes for an excellent GPP play. And then I mentioned there are K cars. I do think they all look pretty good in tournaments as well. Buscher's been good at Bristol. Brad Keselowski has been good here, and the fact that he ran well managing his tires last year, I think, does give him a bit of a bump. And then also like Ryan Preece. All right, I think we got through the donos. Johnny, your message always hides from my pin message, but I'm going to assume it was the FanDuel Cash question, as you always give me. So if it's FanDuel Cash today, I think you have to start with one of either Larson or Hamlin, and then you play Joey Logano because Joey Logano is completely free on FanDuel. I think it's a lot easier to get away from Joey Logano on DraftKings today because of the price range, just because you could maybe fit in an extra Dominator than it is on FanDuel. He is completely free over there. And then I would probably want to get like William Byron starting in 26, and then one of Tyler Reddick or Ross Chastain for FanDuel Cash. And I know there's probably a couple other open spots, but you can probably figure the rest out. What's up, Daniel? Top 6 drivers to win the race. I believe I currently have it as Larson, Hamlin, Bell, Blaney, Bowman, and then Chase Elliott. I'm assuming that's probably what most people are going to end up having. Bowman's a bit of a question mark, but it was fast in his practice group at the least, and I don't think he's going to suck in this race. It really depends on how many laps he is going to lead as far as being a viable DFS play. I currently have him projected for around 40-ish laps, I believe, and then I gave him a, what you guys saw, it was like an 8th place something finish. If he does that today, that's around, 50, 60 points. That's not bad. That's not bad at $7,800. It's just, or $8,000. Just the floor is so much lower. If he only leads 20 laps and just gets absolutely bulldozed and finishes 15th today, that's not going to get the job done. Not even close, because we have Buescher in 24th. We assume he'll move up. Tyler Reddick in 27th. They have much better floors, but I do think the ceiling on Bowman is there. So it's very tough. Like, man, I really wish he didn't get on the pole because it just makes things a little difficult. And the thing is with the tires, though, I really don't think he's going to be able to string it out too much, and then if we get a yellow and then guys pit, different strategies, who knows? So it's definitely risky, but the upside is there. What's up, Chris? For cash, do you like a lineup with Gregson, Custer, and Buescher, or Elliott, LaJoie, and Custer? I think I'd probably roll with the first one, just a little bit more balanced. Don't feel too confident with Corey LaJoie and cash games. I mean, I love Chase Elliott, but I think Gregson and Buescher seems a bit more balanced than with Custer as one of the cheap options. What's up, Scott? Larson, Elliott, Buescher, Nemechek, Gregson, and Bowman, single entry on GPP. All right, so let's look at the roster construction here. We have Kyle Larson as a potential dominator. We have Alex Bowman as a potential dominator. I don't mind that. And then we have Chase Elliott. And you're kind of going with the full Hendrick stack there, so I don't hate the correlation. Yeah, I think that's a fine lineup. I like Nemechek and Gregson as the cheap punts. They're two of the better sub 7K guys on the entire slate, if not the best. So I think that's a really strong lineup. What's up, Clinton? What is the strategy for short tracks? Have at least 1 to 3 DOMs. I think you're going to at least want 2 at the very. I wouldn't feel comfortable only having 1 DOM today. I think you need at least 2, and then you can stretch that to 3 in some builds, of course. And then just with the nature of how qualifying went, you're going to have to mix in some PD. And if we do get a bit of a high variance race where the tires are exploding and we get some cautions and guys can rip through the field, depending on how much they want to push it, like we saw last year, then yeah, you're going to want some PD mixed in for sure. What's up, Mom? Yeah, your guy Logano today is going to be the talk of the town, starting dead last, so we'll see what he can end up doing, but always appreciate you being here. What's up, Stump? I'm finding I like building Hamlin and Larson together with Preece, S, and place differential. Yeah, I love pairing Hamlin and Larson together. I know you're losing some of that place differential floor, but if they both lead like 200 laps today, which is 100% possible, I'm not saying it's a given, but it's definitely possible, they should be running 1-2 for the majority of this race. At least that's what we expect on paper. Who knows what ends up happening? as I always say. But the only thing we can do is play the game on paper before it ends up happening, and it looks very likely that those two will be the top two contenders to dominate this race. And I like Ryan Preece as well, so I have no issues with that. We are in the same mindset. What's up, spreader? So Jake, strategy any different than normal with the tire wear concerns? So I'm still building the same way I always would for Bristol, but I'd probably have like a slight more bump to the place differential, like I said, with the variance. And I'm also not going super heavy on like any single driver. Like I love him, I love Larson, but I'm not playing like 90% today or 80% or anything like that. I think it definitely needs toned down because you never know. Like if tires are really starting to go out, anything could happen to anybody. So gonna play it a little bit safer, and I am playing a little bit lighter than normal today. What's up, Faduni? Yeah, tire wear would definitely be key today, Jay Swain. That is the name of the game. You're feeling Bubba to win, or even Josh Berry? I can't say I have the same thought process on that one. Josh Berry, he's so far green flag speed wise, he's been pretty good at the high tire wear tracks. So I mean, maybe, but I don't really think Josh Berry will win today. Any interest in Bell? Yes, I think, but just based off the track history, I know the practice times weren't crazy, but just based off the track history, I think Christopher Bell definitely needs to be in the Dom pool. I do have him projecting very well because I just can't, like, well, I know not all these Dominators are going to get there, but I just can't give 100% of the Dominator points to Larson and Hamlin. They have to get spread around at least a little bit up top. So Bell is, of course, getting some. So is Ryan Blaney. So Bell does project well, because if he happens to be one of the drivers that gets up front and clicks off 150 laps, I mean, yeah, you're going to need him in your lineup for sure. Yeah, Bell to win at plus 1,000. I actually like those odds. I am showing value on that currently. There's not much value out there, but I believe Christopher Bell was one of the few guys that was showing a little bit, so I don't hate that bet at plus 1,000. Although it looks like DK now he's down to 900. I want to say I saw him at 1,200, but I might have been wrong. But I don't really feel like betting today because I just feel like the tires could be a bit of a question mark. So I only had two bets earlier in the week. It was Buescher to win at plus 3,200, which for where he qualified, I don't love it, but at least the odds are lower at 2,800, I guess. And then I had him at top 10 at plus 140, which I thought was an awesome number. Again, I would have liked him to qualify better, but I don't think I'm going to be too concerned about the qualifying. Yeah, I definitely think Denny could three-peat as well. That would be 2 3-peats in a season for JGR, which would be very impressive. Of course, should he have won last week? No. Was he good? Well, early on he was not good, but ended up running well at the very end, or at least the second half of the race. Ryan Blaney should have won that race last week, but on the track is not always what's going to win you the race. Pit road is definitely important, and that 11 team had an incredible pit stop. Congrats, Hockey Freak. That's awesome. First in the UFC 20 max. So yeah, that's incredible. I'm sure that was a really nice payout. So hopefully you can keep the good times rolling today. What's up, Andy? What's up, Mundo? Best FanDuel non-cash drivers? Non-cash drivers. Well, I guess you mean probably tournament place. I mean, I like the RFK cars of Buescher, Keselowski, Ryan Preece in tournaments. I'll be getting into a lot of Chase Elliott and William Byron. And I'm going to have to get some Blaney in at $12,000, but that's just off the top of my head. A few of the guys that aren't like complete chalk. I'm going to try to force in some Ty Gibbs today just because he is good here at Bristol. He's been running well. Well, he's been running better than he has been. It was either, I think it was Martinsville and Tyler Reddick got him, but had a decent run going for a little bit at Darlington last week. Hello, Astro. Nice to see you from Hawaii. I'm sure CJ is here somewhere. I'll get his chat eventually. Hunter says, thoughts on the F1 race? You know I'm not answering that, Hunter. Although it seems like people did well, DFS-wise, so I guess that's good. Yeah, it is actually Josh Bilicki Day. He is finally in a race, and look, I don't have him projected well. I'm talking, I think it's like 10 to 11 points, 35th, 36th place finish. But he actually pops a lot in lineups. I think it's just because it's forcing in. So the way my projections are, they're really forcing in some of these Dominator plays. So if it just dips down to Bilicki, he cannot lose you spots. And we have to assume there's going to be some DNFs. Do we know who? No. Could it be Josh Bilicki? Absolutely. That car sucks. But if he finishes 35th today and gets you 10 to 11 points and you nail your DOMs, he's free. It can work. Am I really recommending it too much? No, but if you have some Josh Bilicki on DraftKings today, I understand why. But he will be slow. You just got to hope he's not the first guy that goes out and then he gets a few spots, because he's not passing anybody on speed today, at least I don't think. Any cheap guys besides Nemechek I like? Now, Nemechek's the one that's really easy to get to. Everyone's going to play him today, which rightfully so. He finished in the top 10 in this race last year. He showed some speed in practice in his group. Were they maybe inflated because he was in Group A? Yes, but compared to his group, he was pretty good. And I think he can probably scrape away around a 20th place finish, which is more than enough. So love Nemechek as the favorite cheap play this week. Other than that, no one looks great. Todd Gilliland, he's probably next up on the board, him and Cole Custer. But other than that, it's pretty nasty down there. Not seeing too much. What's up? What's up, Dale? Bell, Larson, or Hamlin for the Dominator points? I mean, yeah, those are my top 3 potential DOMs today. And if you want to mix and match those, be my guest. I would throw in Ryan Blaney, of course, and Alex Bowman. I think those are your very, very likely potential DOMs. And I don't think we should completely ignore Ty Gibbs, at least if you're building a Dominator group. What's up, Dustin? Hopefully you do as well. Do you think Buescher can get up there or get some fast lap? I'm not sure about the fast lap department, but I do think he should be a top 10 contender. I don't think he'll be running 25th to 30th all day. The RFK cars are a lot easier to get to on DraftKings than they are in FanDuel. Like Buescher's 83, Keselowski's 78, but on FanDuel 10.5, 10K. Priest is about the same on both sites, once you factor in how different they are for pricing, but the other two are pretty expensive. What's up, Alex? Do you think it's likely that Hamlin and Larson are both optimal, or is it more likely one of them is and gets outscored by PD guys? No, I think it's definitely possible both can be optimal. Now, is there, of course, a scenario where one is and the other isn't? Yes, of course. But, I mean, if they both get up front at some point, they probably are going to be optimal. But I wouldn't have every single build with them. Like, if you want to do a Larson plus Elliott Byron build, you could do that. If you want to do a Denny Hamlin plus a Elliott Byron or something like that, or Logano, of course. That can work. But I would definitely have my fair share of Larson and Hamlin together because their ceilings are just so high. I would go with Barry there, LDW. Any concern that RFK and Trackhouse were still in practice? I'm a little bit more concerned with Trackhouse than I am RFK. RFK has ran really well here at Bristol, which I think does give him a bit of an edge. But yeah, a little concerned about Ross Chastain. He looked pretty slow. I mean, he starts 35th. He usually scrapes his way through around 15th-ish around here. Do I think he's going to go lap down? I think there's a decent chance of that, but he can fight with the other lappers. But yeah, I'm more concerned about Trackhouse than I am with RFK personally. What's up, CJ? I figured you'd be down there. Is there a clear-cut cash game build for DraftKings this week? I don't think so. Most people are going to go with probably one of Denny Hamlin or Kyle Larson. They might do both, but at least one of them. And I think most people probably go with Larson over Hamlin. He's $100 cheaper. He has the better odds. I think most projection systems probably have him a little bit higher, which I know I do. And then they're going to go to Joey Logano because he starts in 38th. Then after that, it's kind of a guessing. I think most people play John Hunter Nemechek as their favorite cheap play, but a couple of question marks. Do people go with Alex Bowman as their second dom to save money off of Denny Hamlin? I think that is 100% possible. Larson, Bowman, John Hunter Nemechek, Joey Logano, probably 3 of the 4 more popular plays, especially when you start your lineup for cash games. What's up, Ryan? For a single entry DraftKings tournament, thoughts on either Hamlin, Larson, Bowman, Buescher, Nemechek on the Joy, or Bell, Elliott, Bowman, Buescher, Brad K, and John Hunter Nemechek? Kind of like the first one better. I really like the Hamlin Larson. And you got Bowman. You do have 3 potential DOMs there, so you're really soaking them up, but I don't hate it for a track like this. Dinger for a top 10 at plus 500. Do I have value? I don't think so. But I will look. I'm at 570, so it's not like it's super far off, but I'm not quite there. But 500 is a good number. I know DraftKings has it, I believe, at 300. So, I mean, it's not a bad number, but it's still just slightly off of it. Bowman thoughts? Probably went over that already. I think you guys know my thoughts on Bowman. Like, the ceiling is there. Let me look at the floor and ceiling projection so I can give you guys an example. So I have Bowman for projected mean of right around 50 points, which is around 6x value, which is good. I only have 4 drivers projected for over 6x. And when you factor in the price tag for Bowman, yeah, he pops quite a bit for me. But the floor projection is 9.93 if things go horribly, and then the average ceiling ends up being 76.08. So if we look at some of the PD plays in that range of Tyler Reddick and Chris Buescher, their mean projection is a little bit lower because I just don't have them getting Dominator points, but their floor is at 12.3 for Buescher, then 18.8 for Tyler Reddick, then their ceilings are just below Alex Bowman. So similar ceilings, I have them a little bit lower, but the floor is a bit better. So it's very tight. But Bowman does project better than both of them. You just gotta understand the risk. Because it's not like he has a nice buffer of some really bad cars behind him. I mean, he's gonna have Larson and Hamlin on the road right behind him. And those are the guys we expect to win the race, so they could obviously get there quite quickly. So we'll have to see how much he can hold on. And I don't expect him to lead the entire race either. So once he gets passed by those guys, it's a matter of, well, how much is he going to slide back, or what's going to happen on pit road? Because if anything happens and he speeds and he just gets stuck in 15th, that's probably not going to work out if he doesn't lead 100 some laps. What's up, King? What's up, John? Can you tell me who you have finishing better head-to-head for? I have Larson over Hamlin, Elliott over Buescher, Bowman over Keselowski, and then Blaney over Briscoe. I hope that helps. Got a donut from Pugsley. Sorry, for some reason it didn't show up, but appreciate that. But I think that's a pretty strong lineup there. I mean, Chris Rebel, Denny Hamlin, and Ty Gibbs as your anchors, Ryan Preece, Gillen. Yeah, I think that's fine, especially for tournaments. I mean, you're avoiding Larson, which will keep you different enough, I guess, and then you don't have Joey Logano either, so to keep you different. You don't really have any of the big name PD plays. What's up, Shady? Congrats on the UFC takedown, I think, last night for 25K, I want to say. Wasn't quite NASCAR, but hey, you'll take it either way. All right, hold on. Lost where it was. Okay. Wolf Creek says, I'm worried about Joey going a lap down if tires only last 40 laps. I mean, it's possible he could go a lap down. Keep in mind, though, guys, it's not like Joey just qualified 38th on speed. He was pretty quick in practice. If you're looking at his group specifically, pull it up here. Again, I'm not making practice the end-all be-all. But if we sort this by Group B, Byron Hamlin and Joey was right there. Like, Joey actually had some pretty decent speed. He got loose in qualifying and took out his back end. Sorry, my dog's barking. But he was one of the quickest cars in his group, so I think he'll have some decent speed, and they're typically good at making strategy calls. So we'll see what happens. But there is a risk for it, and I don't think Joey is a lock by any means. Like, looking at optimal rates, I don't expect him to get Dominator points. And if he does not do that, like, yes, play him in cash games, absolutely, because you're almost getting that 50-point floor as long as he finishes around 15th, which I think is a fairly fine projection, and there's certainly a ceiling for more. But a guy like Chase Elliott, I mean, I think at some point he might be able to get some fast laps or maybe get up front, depending on how good that car can be in traffic. And then William Byron's only $600 more. So Logano is not a lock. He is, like, on FanDuel, though, I mean, he's like $4,000 cheaper than Elliott and William Byron. That makes a big difference. But when you don't expect him to get Dominator points on DraftKings, I mean, you don't have to play him. Cash games, yes. Tournaments, most likely going to be over-owned today. Unless we get, like, one Dom or Larson leads 450 laps like we saw last fall. And then all the PD plays can work out. That's It's possible, but I do think the tires are going to matter way more than they did in the fall. Alex says 100% Baluki. Don't do that, please. What's up, Zachary? I'm working on short time this week. Busy week in business, and it's my birthday today. Well, happy birthday, Zachary. Hopefully it's a fantastic one. Essentially, use the cheat sheet, but my fun lineup includes all of Hendrick Motorsports. I don't blame it. I mean, Hendrick should be good today. We love Kyle Larson. We love William Byron. We love Chase Elliott. And I think we really like Alex Bowman. So, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm not sure which kind of salary that leaves you at the end, but you look a little bit ugly at the bottom, but not against it. Got a dono from Johnny T. Appreciate that. Says, thanks for always answering my questions, even when you don't see them. Yeah, no problem. I'm just used to you being there first, and I appreciate you being there first. So you deserve it. But hopefully you have a fantastic race. And hopefully we all do too. Hopefully we can avoid the wrecks or tire issues or whatever it may be. Hello, Elena. Greetings from Bristol. Yeah, hopefully you enjoy the race today. Should be good. Let's hope so, at least. Let's hope those tires matter. But hopefully it doesn't matter to the point where these guys can't run 20 laps without them blowing out or anything. So hopefully it's a nice, happy medium. Chastain or Buescher? I believe I have Buescher projected better. Let me check. Yeah, I have Buescher projected better than Ross. Just that higher finishing position potential, at least in my projections. What's the top 3 DOMs for FanDuel? It's going to be the same thing as DraftKings. Although Dominator points don't matter as much on FanDuel today, but when you have 500 laps, well, yeah, they're going to matter to a degree because if someone leads 200 laps, I mean, that's 20 points, and that can make a big difference. So it's just Hamlin, Larson, and then Christopher Bell basically is my top 3 DOMs, which I keep leaving out Alex Bowman, but he is I think he's 4th on my list. But he's just so much cheaper than the other guys. That's why I don't even. So forget to mention Bowman in the Dom group. It's just because he's so much further down price-wise. But he is there. What's up, Charles? Pick this Sunday has to be Denny. Watch out for Keselowski, though, and his odds are juicy. I mean, I don't blame you for liking Denny, although I do think Larson's right there with them. Those should be the top 2 contenders today. And the books would reflect that same thought process. What's up, Rick? Happy Spring Bristol Day, folks. Kez going to come through with the top 10. He was looking really good last week. I had a lot of Keselowski. I was like, man, he's finally got some speed. About time. And then what do you know? He loses a lug when he gets on the track. And he doesn't get a caution either. So just horrible luck for him. Although it was nice to finally see some speed because he has had absolutely 0 speed so far this season. Just pulling up Bob's Twitter, see if he stopped talking about IndyCar yet to see if we have any NASCAR news. So let me see. Nope, just more IndyCar stuff. It sucks that he's cheating on us. He's the best source for NASCAR news before the race, and then it's Bristol triple header weekend, and we're off watching IndyCar, Mario Kart racing. What's up, Kevin? Contrarian plays we want to be overexposed on in tournaments. Oh, guys, I don't mind having positive leverage too, at the very least. Let me pull up my sheet here. Leverage, yeah, Christopher Bell pops up quite a bit. Now, I don't really like clicking on Ricky Stenhouse, but unfortunately, he's got slight Dominator upside. He is there in the positive leverage department. So is Noah Gregson. And then kind of just the other chalkier guys. Like some of the guys that are going to be lower owned are just probably lower owned for a reason. But those are a few guys that pop. Josh Bilicki shows up a ton in that I don't feel comfortable even saying that, but it's just, I don't even have him projected. I have him projected for 10 points. But if he does not finish dead last, it can work. As long as you nail your dom. If you play Josh Bilicki today, you absolutely have to nail your doms or that's not going to work out. So just know you kind of need perfection from yourself. Yeah, we probably got to start building a little bit, Hunter. But I'm definitely got the speed build once we get out of here. Gillen or Gregson on FanDuel? I would go with Gregson personally. I think Gregson's a pretty good play today. On either site, DraftKings or FanDuel. I have not seen anyone go into the rear today yet. I don't know. Bob's off playing IndyCar, so I'm not 100% sure. I could probably look up... well, let's see. We have Gluck. I don't know if Gluck would tweet it. We have Dustin Long. And then I don't know who else would even post anything. Let me see. No, it doesn't look like Dustin's tweeted anything. And okay, so NASCAR proves for Goodyear to provide an extra set of tires to Cup teams today. So we're up to 11 sets today. So I mean, I guess that helps them out a bit. But not seeing any news about going to the rear. They did reapply the PJ1 to the track today. I believe they're doing that at 130, which I guess it's 210 now. So that has happened already. But not seeing anything else news-wise. What's up, Marvin? I've capped my exposure at 40%. I don't think I would cap the entire field at 40% because then you're just not going to be overweight on really some of the top dogs at all. So I would bump that up a little bit. Like I would want more than 40% Larson and Hamlin today personally. But yeah, no problem. How quick do you think Bowman fades from the lead? I gave him around 40 laps. Of course, does that mean he can't go less or more? No, but I think a happy medium is probably around 40. I don't think he's going to completely fade back to the abyss either. But I gave him 40 laps. They take off quickly here, but it could be sooner. I mean, we'll see how much Larson and Hamlin really push at the beginning. Steve says, I have very little Logano and spread out on Hamlin, Blaney, Bell, and Larson. Is that good or bad? No, I think that's a fine approach in tournaments. Of course, in cash games, we need to get to Joey. But if you're playing tournaments today, you're chasing that ceiling. And I don't think Joey Logano has the 100-point ceiling today. Does Chase Elliott? I think he might. I think he has a way better chance of leading laps today than Joey Logano. I think I can say the same for William Byron. But yeah, I'm fine with you're a little bit lower on the field than Joey today. Just from an optimal sense of trying to take down a tournament. Because that's kind of a hefty price point to pay for a guy at Bristol, which we don't really think will dominate. Now, of course, if you can nail Larson, Hamlin, and Finn and Joey as well, and somehow make it work, yes, but can't do that in every lineup. Devin says, every time I build a lineup, I end up with one Dominator and 4 to 5 place differential. No, you need more than one Dominator today. Absolutely. There's way too many Dominator points to go around to just only have one. I don't think it's going to work out. Now, of course, if you mean place differential like a William Byron, maybe it works out. Maybe William Byron gets up front and dominates, and that can work. But I'm kind of viewing him as more of a hybrid play. Like Elliott and Byron, I'm viewing them as potential dominators today at some point, potentially. So I guess it kind of depends on who you're talking about. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable just having Larson, and then you go straight to Logano, Chastain, Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece. Like I wouldn't feel too comfortable with a build like that. Stenhouse is unplayable. I mean, he's close to it, but he does show a little bit of positive leverage, which is scary. I think it's probably because he got a few Dominator points mixed in with his projection. Obviously, really good in practice, but it's very likely he ends up moving back. He's got one of the worst floors on the entire slate, I think. Can Stenhouse stay in the top 10? I think it's unlikely Stenhouse finishes this race in the top 10. I have him... Where do I have him finishing? I gave him a 1603. Although, keep in mind, my first place guy is projected to finish 5.92, so I don't exactly have him finishing 16th, but... Any left for Dinger? I haven't really seen Dinger popping up in projections too much. Yeah, he's kind of low in the total. Yeah, he's starting in 8th, so... For some reason, I was thinking he was in 20th, and I was wondering why his projection was so low. Hello, Miss Jules. Time to clean and listen to my favorite YouTuber. Excited for this race. Maybe we can have a Blaney win this week. Maybe. He hasn't been as strong in Bristol in the next gen era. I think back in the day, though, I remember. Voice crack. I remember him. I'm pretty sure it was Bristol. He was dominating, and then he just ran in the back of Ty Dillon, or the side of Ty Dillon, destroyed his car. But we'll see. He's been the 12 car has been so good this year. But I do think he's going to be a tick below Larson and Hamlin. Yeah, I'd love John Hunter Nemechek today. Although, so does everybody else. I expect him to be very popular. Thoughts on Gisbergen? For the price point, he doesn't project too bad. He has one of the better cheap plays, I guess. I hate saying that because he's just been so bad this year. But I'm not anti-SVG just because we have to play these cheap guys. We can't afford Larson, Hamlin, Bell, Byron, Elliott, Logano without dipping down. So he's in the player pool. Won't be fast, but, you know. Why does everyone hate Reddick today? I don't hate Reddick today. Do people hate Reddick? I mean, I haven't really Haven't really watched anything, but I think Reddick's fine for his price. I mean, he starts in 27th. He shows up in my FanDuel optimal. I don't know if I'm going to get there quite, but I might. I mean, he's so cheap. He's 75 on FanDuel, 82 on DraftKings. I don't think he's going to win or anything, but if he's a borderline top 10, top 15 guy, I mean, that's solid at 27th. And I already went over the projection thing with Busher, Reddick, and Bowman for their floors, their means, and their ceilings, and how they're all pretty close. But I mean, I think the floor on Reddick is perfectly fine. Even potentially cash game viable, really. Got a dono here from Chris Davis. Appreciate that, sir. Says, anyone you would rather change for cash? Larson, Logano, Reddick, Chastain, Nemechek, and Gregson? Or should I figure out how to get Byron or Busher? I think I'd want... I mean, it's a good looking lineup. The only issue is, though, like, you only have one Dom, which I don't love. Very balanced, but man. I mean, for cash games, you really need Kyle Larson to be the main dominator. So I'm not going to completely hate on it, because I usually think in a GPP sense. But it's about as balanced as it gets. If you put in Byron over, I'm assuming it'd probably have to be like over a Ross or something, and you have to dip down probably Gregson to. Kind of gets dirty down there, like a Cole Custer or John or Nemechek. Yeah, I have to see the exact 2v2 on that, trying to fit those guys in. But if Larson leads, I don't think it's a bad lineup. Of course, it feels very scary not having more than one Dom though. The only time I would do that today would be in cash games, because of course you need to give yourself a bit of a floor in cash. But yeah, definitely don't play that in tournaments. I know it's a cash question though. What do I think about Ty Gibbs? Will he get some solid stage points, and where do you think he finishes? I think Ty Gibbs will be fine today. I am finishing around 11th, which is not actually 11th place, but like I have him right after like the big dogs, of course. Then you have Elliott, Byron, then I have Ty Gibbs right there. So I think he'll probably run top 10. He's been good at Bristol, but I don't think he's going to be the best car or anything, but he should run top 10. Has good track position to start with too. Hamlin or Larson? If it comes down to it, I have Larson projected slightly better. Chastain or Bowman on DFS? I do have Bowman projecting better, but I also think it depends on what your roster construction looks like. Like, do I already have a couple guys up front? If so, I think it might make more sense to play Ross in that sense. Or if I'm lacking guys up front, I think you need Bowman. So, I mean, I'm sure you know the answer because you're looking at your lineup, but try to apply that, I guess. What's up, Jones? New to NASCAR DFS. Is there correlation with racing like football and baseball? No, like there's no stacks really. Like, I mean, sure, if you want to stack a team, you could, like Hendrick today, but I don't build my lineups like that. So there's nothing like that. What's up, Choke? I was late today. Don't worry, I was too. May I get a Dom hybrid group if I can make one? Yeah, I think everyone I'd put in that group would be, well, just so I don't have to say every single name. Basically these guys. And then I'd probably throw in Ty Gibbs. Throw in Bowman, of course. And that's probably it. I don't really see anybody else that would need to be put in the Dom group. I mean, you could put Stenhouse in there just in case, starting in second, just in case. So I would say that's probably it. So I'm not 100% built yet, Jets, but I'm expecting my highest owned to be Kyle Larson on both sides. But it'll be Larson and Hamlin. I'm chasing those laps led. But it's probably not going to be above 60% though. I am not hammering anyone at 80% or anything today. Jones, Suarez or Jones? Not a fun one to pick from here. Let me see. I'm thinking Jones projects slightly better, but nope. It's actually Suarez slightly better. By 0.13, I think. 0.1, very close, but they don't project well either of them. What's up, Levi? Appreciate the help as always. And at 150 max, I'm only making one lineup. Who was your favorite top pick for Dom? Also, hi, no Gregson today. Last question, who are the top 5 chalkiest plays? I mean, if I had to pick one Dom today, Kyle Larson's the one I'm going to first. I like Noah Gregson as well, so I have no issues with that. And the chalk today, it's kind of hard to peg the exact chalk because I think there's quite a few similar plays. This is in no particular order, but I believe Joey Logano will be up there. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson. I think Bowman gets high just because of the cheap price point with access to Dominator points. No, it's tough after that. John Nemechek could slide in or William Byron, but it should be some combination of that. Thoughts on Reddick? I probably answered that one. I am not playing Stenhouse or Dinger. At least I don't expect to. Like I said, I'm about to speed build after we get off live here, but let me see. Stenhouse is popping optimal around. It's popping optimal around like 10% of the time for me, which does show positive leverage. So you might want to mix him in on 150 max, but if I'm playing single entry or 20 or 3 max or anything like that, I just can't click on him. He's only a large field play for me. Appreciate the dono again, Chris. Of course. All right, let me see. Are you thinking Hamlin and Larson almost guarantee some Dom points? Larson, Bowman, Reddick, Priest, Nemechek, and Logano. See, that's the thing. Like playing Larson and Hamlin, you're basically guaranteeing because it's a very unlikely scenario where both of them don't lead laps at some point. And I think there's a really decent chance they both soak up a good amount of Dominator points. And if you're doing that, yes, you might miss out on some of the balanced points with a couple of those place differential guys. But at the same time, you're giving yourself a nice Dom floor boost as well. So it kind of balances out. And that's why I like at least getting 2 of those guys in. But for the lineups you sent, I prefer this one a little bit more because you do have the Larson Bowman route and you do have the 2 potential Doms there. So if I had to pick between those 2, it would be this one. I was only 325. Well, I wouldn't complain about winning 325 though. Outside of DFS, any longer odds bets you like today? Plus 500 or more. I wasn't really seeing much. Christopher Bell is the only thing that shows value for me. I had him fair at 753. He's popping quite a bit there, depending on which book you're looking at. I know DK, I think you can get him at 900. I think FanDuel had him at plus 1,000. But that was like pretty much it. Sean says, Chris, Chase Elliott's my favorite play today. I like him a lot too. I plan on being overweight on Chase Elliott today. He looks really good. Should have a really fast car, great Bristol. He's a direct pivot off of Joey Logano. I mean, he looks awesome. And he's also a pivot off of William Byron too. So I'm definitely in on Chase. Any interest in the RCR cars? Not really. I don't plan on playing Kyle Busch. I don't really plan on playing Austin Dillon either. Or Jesse Lowe. Ryan's FanDuel single entry. Larson, Denny, Reddick, Joey Gregson. That's pretty good. I might have to steal that somewhere. I like that. You get both Larson and Denny in. Reddick, Joey, and Gregson. Yeah, I think Gregson's a pretty good FanDuel play too. He's only $6,500. He starts pretty far back, and honestly, he's got top 20 upside. So I don't mind that at all. Bowman or Joey today? If it's cash games, Joey. If it's a tournament, I would say Bowman. Now, overall, Joey projects 2 points better, but I do think that ceiling on Bowman could get very high depending on how much he leads early on. Just kind of understand the risk of falling back. What's up, Jim? My birthday today. So can I get your top 5 drivers? Happy birthday, Jim. I might be making that. I could have swore you said it was your birthday last week. I might have made that up to my own head, but yeah, top 5. I mean, I think I probably already mentioned that, really. I mean, I'm building around the Doms today, Larson, Hamlin. Chase Elliott. Gonna be very heavy on those guys. Don't even check down low. Jesse Love solid today. I'm not playing Jesse Love. I think he qualified way too high. I don't really trust the X-Fin guy right off the rip in Cup. Gregson and Hendrick or Reddick and Nemechek? Ooh, I'd have to go Reddick and Nemechek there, Josh. Appreciate you smashing the like, Sean. As always. Nick DFS has best mid-price value on FanDuel. Let me sort this by FanDuel because obviously their salary is a bit different. So we're probably like in this range. If that's going to be the case, I mean, Joey Logano far and away because he's just so cheap starting in 38th. But Bowman's also there. Tyler Reddick, Ryan Preece, no Gregson. Those guys are popping quite a bit for FanDuel. What's up, Daniels? Love me some Bristol. What are you doing with Stenhouse and Logano? Sims love them. I don't at all. Logano awful history here. Well, let's keep in mind, Joey, if you're looking at the Joey Logano history at Next Gen, I believe he's DNF'd or had an issue in 3 out of the 4 races. Back in the day, though, he actually was not bad at Bristol. Obviously, it's a different car, but I'm pretty sure he was in my Bristol takedown lineup once, like a few years, like 2020 maybe, 2021, whatever it was. He's just had some really bad luck here at Bristol. But I do think with the price tag on DraftKings, it's tougher to get there. I don't mind being underweight on Joey on DraftKings because I don't think the Dominator points. I just don't really, unless he gets lucky on some strategy or something. I don't really see how he's going to get any today. But Stenhouse shows positive leverage. I mean, I guess if I wanted to be overweight on one, it would be Stenhouse, as nasty as that sounds, but yuck. Let's see. He says, loving Bowman today to dominate some and finish well, but when he falls off, Bell for the W this week. Yeah, I don't think Bowman will win. It's probably going to be one of Hamlin, Larson, or Christopher Bell, for being honest, but yeah, we'll have to see which one it is. Appreciate you, CJ. Yeah, I can tell you reserved a lot of cash today, Chris. Yeah, I hope that goes well for you too. What's up, Alexander? Who's the cheapest driver you were comfortable with rostering on DraftKings? Honestly, I think you can go down as low as you want to go. If Josh Bilicki gets you what you want up here, by all means, he can't lose you any points. Do I think he's going to be fast? No, he'll probably be the worst car on the track. But if he doesn't wreck out early on, now I guess he's not comfortable. So comfortable, it would be John Hunter Nemechek or Cole Custer, I guess. But John Hunter Nemechek's the most comfortable one. Everything else is you're praying for the best. Busher or Gibbs? I'd rather go with Chris Busher personally. Taylor. What's up, Scott? I'm not playing Jesse Love today. I think he qualified way too high. I just can't do it in 19th. Hendrick is playable, Ben, but he doesn't project too well for me. He hasn't exactly ran great here either. Sean says he needs Bowman to lead for more than 40 for sure. It's possible. I think that's just that's where he landed on average, around 40. What's up, Dropping Dimes? Thanks as always, my man. Is there a clear cash line? No, I don't really think there's a clear cash line today. But for the drivers you just stated, that's my starting point. Larson, Hamlin, Logano, Nemechek. Hopefully it's not Nemechek today. Last two, I mean, it's kind of dealer's choice on that. I really don't think there's a must route you need to go. I am fine with going out Alex Bowman to get more Dominator points, or if you want to slide that to, say, Ryan Preece for more of a floor, or Chris Busher if you can afford that, or Reddick. I'm fine with either. How I feel about Corey LaJoy? I mean, he's probably going to suck, but it's similar to Bilicki where, I mean, I think he'll be faster than Bilicki. Starting at 37th, he finishes 31st. If you nail your other guys, it shouldn't matter too much. Do I like Cody Ware? If Cody Ware was starting 39th, I would much rather play Cody Ware over Bilicki. But when I get the 5 extra spots, it kind of makes the difference. So I really wish they were flipped. Any value in Busher at plus 145 for a top 10. So I actually bet him at plus 140 earlier in the week. Right now I have him fair at, after qualifying, at 142. So I pretty much dead even. Slight value on that. Yeah, I'm fine with Gilly as salary relief. I probably should have mentioned him too, but yeah, $6,200. Okay with that. What's up, Mike B? Bit behind, so watching on 2X. No problem. Thanks for the best content out there, Chris. Appreciate that. Preece and Gillen versus Busher and Bilicki. Whew. Yeah, I probably have to go Preece and Gillen there. I mean, I like Busher a lot, but Bilicki, Bilicki could obviously finish that last day. It's a decent outcome for him. No, I think you can still play LaJoy. I mean, obviously it's not the best ride out there, but if you're playing these absolute bums in the back, SVG, LaJoy, Cody Ware, Bilicki, You're not playing them because of speed. You're playing them for you're hoping some other guys have some issues and they gain 5 spots because of that. They just have to survive that long. Like I remember Catherine Legay, however you say your name. She was dirt cheap was it Phoenix? I think it was Phoenix. One of the short tracks. She was dirt cheap. Was she slow? Yes. Did she spin out in lap 1? Also yes. But she survived enough when there was DNFs. I think she finished 30th. That was more than enough at her price point. Thoughts on Barry? I don't have Barry being bad today. I just have him finishing around 15th. Is there upside for more? Sure. Got him projected for around 30 points. I mean, it's not like he's down in the dumps, but he's like teetering the line of being in that pool, you know? Gillen and Custer versus Gregson and the Joy. Whew. It's pretty tough right there. I think I'm going to have Gillen and Custer project a little better. Let me see. Yeah, I think Gillen and Custer projects just slightly better. Gregson, Jones, or Reckhouse. I'll go with no Gregson there. No problem at all, Bobby. Top value plays to pair with Denny and Larson. John or Nemechek and no Gregson are my favorite once we get to the 6K range. Spread says the Hamlin Cruz ranks second behind Bubba on paper. I think it's the best. Yeah, I saw Bubba was at the very top. But yeah, Denny Cruz obviously awesome. And that's helped him win a few races the past couple of seasons. Got a donut from Jay Swain. Appreciate that. So hit the like button, please. Good luck today. Good luck to you as well. We're going to need it today. Definitely will. All right, I'm going to get out of here at 2:30. So if you guys have any last second questions, let me know and I'll try to get to them. Ford, Toyota, or Chevy? Well, I think I have Chevy winning with Kyle Larson, so I guess I'd have to go with them, but I don't have like a specific manufacturer I'm leaning towards today. Yeah, I definitely think you need to go Stars and Scrubsy today, Maryland, to at least a degree, because if you're trying to fit in those DOMs, it's just what you have to do. So Hammond, Larson, Logano, Busher, and some bottom dwellers, yeah, I'm fine with that. Logano at 38. I mean, yeah, he's the cash play. Tournaments though, I don't mind being underweight because I mean probably not going to dominate. Should he have easy access to around 50 points today? Yeah, which is fine for cash, but for tournaments, I think you can maybe find slightly more of a ceiling. Of course, it comes at the risk of losing the floor, but. Shall the punts be cheap guys in the back, or is a guy like Haley worth the risk? I like the punts in the back, personally. I just have a hard time seeing a couple of those guys even staying up there for the majority of the race. No, I think the weather looks pretty good today, Jack, so we shouldn't have any issues with that. And no, I don't think you're crazy to fade Logano in tournaments, Chris. Not at all. Logano in 16th, 20 laps in. I think that's probably pushing it a little bit. I don't think it'll be up to 16th, 20 laps in. That might be a bit much. Appreciate the dono, Maryland. Yeah, I'll need the good luck, so thank you. I don't mind Keselowski and GPPs. I mean, if this does play into just a real high tire wear race, that should bode well for Keselowski. Favorite vegetable? Asparagus or peppers? I ate those every day. Mad Dog says, maybe cautious on picking Larson. Look what happened last week. I don't know. You just gotta forget what happened. That was DFSD day. It was such bad luck last week. You know how it is. Top 5 starters today, says Odessa. Do you mean like qualify or just like in general? Like for DFS purposes. I mean, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson would be the ones I'm building around. Then, I guess, like Joey Logano, Alex Bowman, Joe Hunter Nemechek. Kind of be like the core today. Frosted tips in the hair? No. I don't think we need... That's like a 90s thing, I think. All right. I'm probably gonna have to get out of here, guys. I'd like to start the streams earlier, answer more questions, but baseball's kind of made that a little bit tough. But I guess we don't have NASCAR next week. I just remembered it was Easter. So no NASCAR next week, unfortunately, which sucks. But then we have Talladega. So we're going from Bristol tire race to off week to Talladega. So that'll be fun. But I wish you all the best this week. Hopefully our dominators dominate and our cheap guys don't die early on. But I wish you all the best. We're going to need it. If you guys want to join the Discord or get all the extra content, you can hit the pinned comment thing and you can get a free week trial if you're a new user for over on Patreon. But I'll see you guys. Best of luck. I got to get building because I have build 0 lineups.